They knew Derek had borrowed Dory's gun. And since he's a convicted felon, that's illegal.
Never carried a firearm for 2 months?
No.
Were you driving around with one in the car?
I don't believe so. I hope not.
Once his confidence was rattled, he actually asked us to get him a nitro pill from his bag because he was having heart problems.
In the stuff he took out of my pocket, there's my Mentos bottle. I have my, there's nitro in there. Can I please have one of those?
You need a nitro?
Yeah.
Stand by. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
And we looked at each other and we were like, is this guy seriously trying to convince us to give him a pill out of a Mentos bottle?
They ended the interview and sent Derek to the hospital as a precaution. When Cindy and her team got that update from the agents, they were in a panic. They worried Derek had just fooled federal agents.
All of us were like, oh no, here we go. They're going to let him go to the hospital and he's going to flee from the hospital.
And I assured them that he was under guard 24 hours a day and he would be brought back to the jail. They took him to the hospital. They found nothing, of course. Later that night, my phone started blowing up and I started receiving text messages. It says, oh, thank you for what you did. You know, he took me for this.
Cindy's network was in overdrive. The scores of women started sharing their stories with Agent Elcare. Finally, someone was listening. And the agents were getting just what they needed from Cindy's Courage Club.
How helpful were the women in building your case?
They were the case.
They were the case.
So without them?
There was none.
Now it was up to federal prosecutor William Tatum to get justice for those victims. But after a first look at the evidence for stolen valor, he was concerned.
Stolen valor, unfortunately, has a very low penalty.
And adding the money Derek stole from Dory's credit card wouldn't make much of a difference. But because the charges were federal, when Tatum came across the stories of all the other women whose bank accounts had been drained, he had an idea.
What we needed to do was get Cindy Bardini's loss amount in there, get Linda Joyan, get all of those in there, because then we were looking at a loss amount over $1 million.
That would carry a much harsher sentence.
How much do you think he stole in total?
It's in the millions, and that's just for the people we know about.
The prosecutor tacked on gun possession, but still wasn't sure that was enough. So he took a closer look at Derek's fake uniforms and medals, and he couldn't believe his luck. Dory had kept the packaging. Important because now Tatum had proof Derek had used the mail to buy his imposter kit.
So once we had all of these packages, then we knew we had mail fraud.
That was your smoking gun, really. Dory saving these packages.
Now the prosecutor had what he needed. He offered Derek a deal.
We offered him the option to plead guilty to the mail fraud and 2 counts of aggravated identity theft. So 24 years total is what he would be looking at.
24 years behind bars. Would he take it? So far, his strategy when speaking to investigators was to deny.
Hello?
We wondered what he would say to us. He agreed to a phone interview.
We've spoken to a number of women who say that you did steal money from them, and in fact, you stole money from them to use that money to wine and dine other women.
What I would say is that these women, a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them are twisting and manipulating facts.
They would say the exact opposite, that you're the one who's twisting and manipulating facts.
I know they would because I've seen some of their statements.
Did you steal from these women?
No.
These women are just broken from their interaction with you. That's what they told us.
I really don't know how to respond to that because in the short term of knowing some of these women and how we interacted, I just don't see how that's possible.
I think that they would say that that was a clueless statement.
They might. They very well might.
What do you say to all these women who say that you destroyed their lives?
I'm not trying to justify my behavior. My behavior was, I was a horrible boyfriend. Absolutely horrible. Destroying someone's life, I think, is a bit exaggerated.
When I pressed him about his fake identities, that he didn't deny.
You have been accused of posing as an attorney, a doctor, a firefighter, an executive, a veteran, and there's more. How did you keep it all straight?
It's impossible to keep straight, particularly when I was running from the courts or, running from the United States Marshals. I mean, it was tough to keep track of who I was saying, where I was and what I was doing and who I was, it's overwhelming.
My husband was a fighter pilot, an F-18 fighter pilot. You purported to be one. Members of the military obviously don't look kindly on people posing as military officers.
Andrea, I think that's kind of a cheap shot question.
But it's a big part of your case, stolen valor.
Right. But, I mean, it's not a big part of my case because it's actually no part of my case.
But it opened the door, really, to the federal authorities going after you.
Right.
But
I'm not going to answer it.
Why did you pose as all these different occupations and professions?
I really can't give you, there's no specific reason why. There's really not.
And yet, he made a deal.
It took a while, but he finally accepted?
Yes, he did accept it, and he did eventually plea.
But there was no guarantee a judge would accept that deal. So the prosecutor asked Derek's victims to tell their stories in court.
We were going to make the argument to the judge that all of this conduct throughout the entire United States, it should all count in this case in Sherman, Texas.
8 of Derek's victims arrived in court, including Vanessa, Missy, Dory, and of course, Cindy, who had fought so hard to see this day.
You were the first to give your victim impact statement.
Yeah.
It was very powerful. You said, a dark journey that will throw you into the spells of depression, rage, and loneliness. It will unravel your deepest insecurities, leaving you with a lingering emptiness that haunts your every breath.
That's about right.
That's intense.
It was. It was a very lonely time for me.
The judge listened to every word from every woman. And when it was Dory's turn, she spoke of how Derek had forever stolen her ability to trust.
He took a piece of you.
Yeah. I was very trusting, loving. You have my trust until you show me otherwise. I'm the other way now. I don't trust anybody.
You get really emotional talking about that.
That part bothers me.
Then, Derek Aldred faced the judge and the women and tried to pull off one last con.
He got up there and said, I didn't mean to hurt anybody. I didn't steal from anyone. These were all just bad relationships. He kind of tried to turn on the, look at me, poor Derek Aldred. I'm about to go to prison and I haven't really done anything.
But the judge wasn't falling for it, not even slightly. He told Derek the madness had to stop.
He had said something to the effect of, if I could give you a life sentence, I would.
On August 22nd, 2018, the judge gave Derek Aldred the maximum, 24 years, and ordered him to pay more than $250,000 in restitution. We asked him about that. The phone interview was from a federal prison in Sheridan, Oregon. The judge threw the book at you, suggesting that he believed these women.
Yes, and that's a shame.
What was it like for you facing all those women in court?
To see some of them, it was surreal.
Did you look at Derek in the courtroom?
Yeah, I looked, but he didn't look back. There was no reaction to what any of us were saying.
Derek Aldred will be 67 when he's eligible for release. And many believe he has Cindy Pardini to thank for that.
Cindy was the driving force in getting them together, and then all of them coming together made them all the hero.
I walk forward every single day, and every day that I walk forward, I'm walking further away from this situation.
Does it also give you comfort in knowing that the prison that Derek Aldred is in is no Four Seasons?
Exactly.
That's all for now. I'm Lester Holt. Thanks for joining us.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast. It's an insider's take on politics, the 2020 election, and more. Candid conversations with some of my favorite reporters about things we usually discuss off camera. Listen for free wherever you get your podcasts.